The starship glided silently through the blackness of space, its silver hull reflecting distant starlight. Inside, the air hummed softly, almost alive with the quiet rhythm of the ship's core. Captain Elias leaned against the control panel, his arms crossed, eyes scanning the vast display before him. Humans had traveled far beyond their own solar system, but no one expected them to reach the edges of the Nivara cluster so quickly. Elias had been trained for this moment all his life. He knew the galaxy was full of unknowns, species with strange ways, civilizations with technologies far beyond Earth's. But he also knew one thing that set humans apart: their curiosity, their courage, their persistence. That was the real power they carried into the stars. A soft chime echoed through the cabin. Elias turned to see the ship's communication panel flicker to life. A voice, clear but tinged with wonder, filled the space. "Captain Elias, we are detecting an approaching vessel. It is unlike anything in our records." Elias smiled. "Show me." The screen shifted, revealing a ship shaped like a spiraling crystal, glimmering in colors that no human eye could normally see. Before Elias could respond further, the alien ship stopped, hovering silently beside his. A small airlock opened, and a figure stepped forward. A being unlike any human or known alien. Her skin shimmered like liquid silver, and her eyes glowed with a soft blue light. She was delicate in appearance, yet her presence was commanding. "I am Lyra," she said, her voice melodic and warm. "I am an explorer of the Nivara. I have heard stories of humans, of your resilience, your ingenuity. Please, show me your world." Elias blinked. He had read about humans being considered myths by many civilizations, their tales dismissed as exaggerated stories. And now here was an alien who had traveled light years just to meet a human, not to fight, not to conquer, but to learn. "Of course," Elias said with a smile, "but it will be a long journey. Human worlds are not simple to show in a day or two." Lyra tilted her head, curiosity shining in her glowing eyes. "I am patient. I wish to see everything. Your life, your culture, your ways." The journey began with careful steps. Elias guided her through the human ship, explaining the technology, the simple comforts, the complexity of human teamwork. Lyra listened attentively, fascinated by the small details. The way humans measured time, how they cooked food, how they slept in a way that seemed so ordinary to them, but so strange to her. "Humans are very different from my people," Lyra said after a while. "Your ways are chaotic, yet beautiful. You take risks, but you do not always seek the reward immediately. You care for each other, even when it is hard." Elias chuckled. "That's one way to put it. We make mistakes, a lot, but we also try to learn from them." Hours passed, and Lyra's eyes never left the ship's interior. Every corner fascinated her, every sound intrigued her. But as they moved to the observation deck, where the stars stretched endlessly beyond the glass, she grew quiet. This is incredible," she whispered. "Your stars, your planets, and your universe is alive in a way I never imagined. My people see space as empty, just a place to travel through. But you live among it." Elias nodded. "That's how humans have always been. We explore, we adapt, we grow. We don't just travel through space, we make it part of us." Lyra looked at him with awe. "I wish my people could see this. They think humans are small, weak, fables. But standing here, I see the truth. You are strong. Not in power, but in spirit." Elias felt a quiet pride. Humans were underestimated often, but moments like this reminded him why they endured. Their strength was not in weapons or size. It was in courage, in creativity, in the willingness to reach for the unknown. As the human ship approached the first planet on their journey, Lyra grew more excited. The planet was small, with deep green forests and vast oceans shimmering under twin suns. Birds with feathers that sparkled in gold and red flew across the sky, and rivers twisted like silver threads through the forests. This world, it is alive, Lyra exclaimed, her glowing eyes reflecting the sunlight. You humans live here? Elias nodded. Yes, one of many. This planet is called Terra. It's where humans come from, and it has much to teach you. The landing was smooth, the ship settling near a forest edge. Lyra stepped out first, feeling the gravity, smelling the air and touching the soft grass with delicate hands. Every sense was engaged, every emotion heightened. Everything is different from my home, she said, almost in awe. The air, the life, the colors. It is more vibrant, more alive than I imagined. Elias smiled. That's why we protect it. Our world is fragile, but it is full of beauty, and we learn from it every day. They walked through the forest, the sunlight dancing on leaves, birds singing songs that seemed almost magical. Lyra touched the trees, fascinated by their textures, the way the roots twisted through the earth. She laughed at the animals that scurried and chirped, a sound like music to Elias's ears. This is wonderful, Lyra said, her voice soft and filled with wonder. Humans are not just stories. You are living legends. I can see it now. You survive. You thrive, even in ways my people cannot imagine. Elias nodded, feeling a warmth in his chest. Humans had always faced challenges, storms, diseases, scarcity, conflict, and yet they endured, they adapted, they learned. And sometimes it was their curiosity that saved them, that drove them forward. Lyra paused by a river, looking at her reflection. I want to learn. All of it. Your ways, your stories, your mistakes, your victories. I want to understand humans, fully. Elias smiled. It will take time, but I can teach you. And maybe you can teach me too. Your world is different from ours, and I want to understand it as well. She nodded, eyes shining. Yes, I will learn. And perhaps, one day I can bring your story to the stars, not as fables but as truth. The day passed with simple joys, collecting water from the river, observing animals, and sharing stories of home and family. Lyra's fascination never waned, and Elias realized something important. The human's strength was not just in surviving challenges, but in sharing their world, their knowledge, their lives with others. By the time night fell, the forest glowed softly under the light of twin moons. Fireflies shimmered like tiny stars, and the sound of the river mixed with distant animal calls. Lyra looked at the sky, awed by the sight of her first human night. This is more than I imagined, she said. I thought humans were weak. I thought your stories were exaggerated. But now, I see your courage, your spirit, your wonder. I understand why your people are special. Elias nodded, looking up at the stars as well. We are not perfect. We make mistakes. We fight. We fail. But we keep going. That is what makes us human. For the first time, Lyra felt a true connection, not just to a species, but to the essence of humanity. It was not about strength or weapons, but about heart, curiosity, and resilience. As the night deepened, the forest quieted. Elias and Lyra settled near the river, sharing simple food and exchanging stories. The alien explorer listened intently, her glowing eyes reflecting the firelight, and Elias realized that this was the beginning of a remarkable journey. A journey not of conquest or conflict, but of understanding, learning, and the timeless wonder of discovering another world. And another being who could change everything she thought she knew. And so, under the twin moons of Terra, two species, one human, one alien, began a journey that would redefine legends, not through battles, but through curiosity, courage, and the shared discovery of life itself. The first light of dawn stretched across Terra's horizon, painting the forests with soft golden hues. Birds chirped melodies unfamiliar to Lyra's ears, and the river's gentle flow reflected the brightening sky. Lyra awoke before Elias, her glowing blue eyes scanning the surroundings with wonder. She could not help but marvel at every detail, the way the leaves moved with the wind, the insects skimming the water's surface, the mountains in the distance, standing like silent guardians of the planet. Elias, still rubbing sleep from his eyes, smiled when he saw her fascination. "You never stop noticing, do you?" he asked. Lyra shook her head, her movements graceful and precise. "Everything here is new to me, every sound, every smell. I wish my people could experience this." "You're lucky to see it firsthand," Elias said. "Stories and data cannot compare to the real thing. Humans learn by doing, by feeling, by experiencing. That's how we understand our world." Lyra followed Elias as he led her deeper into the forest. Their path wound through towering trees, the sunlight filtering through the branches to create a mosaic of light and shadow on the ground. Along the way, Elias pointed out different plants, explaining their uses. Some were food, some medicine, some had fibers humans could use for crafting tools or clothing. "These forests teach patience," Elias said, plucking a small leaf and handing it to her. "Humans have learned to observe, to understand, and to respect what the land provides." Lyra examined the leaf, feeling the texture and noting its intricate veins. "Your people are resourceful," she said softly. "You adapt to every challenge, every environment." Elias nodded. "We have to. Life is not easy anywhere, but humans survive by working together, by learning from nature and each other." As they continued, they reached a clearing where a small human village lay. The buildings were simple, made from natural materials yet carefully arranged to blend with the forest. Children ran and played, laughing freely, while adults worked in gardens or repaired tools. Lyra's eyes widened. "Your people, they live in harmony with the world, not like my people who alter every planet to suit themselves. You respect life here?" Elias smiled. "That's one of our greatest strengths. We understand that we are part of the world, not above it. Every creature, every plant, every river has its place. And when we work together, we thrive." The villagers paused to greet Elias and Lyra, curious about the alien visitor. At first, some children hesitated, unsure about her unusual appearance. But Lyra knelt, speaking gently, and soon they were laughing and talking with her. "This is remarkable," Lyra whispered. "Even young humans show kindness, courage, and curiosity. You teach the next generation to value life, to explore, and to understand." Elias nodded. "That's how humans survive. We pass knowledge from one generation to the next. We learn not just from our mistakes, but from the successes and stories of those who came before us." Later, Elias took Lyra to a workshop where humans crafted tools, repaired machinery, and experimented with new ideas. Lyra watched as the villagers combined simple materials in clever ways, creating solutions that were practical, yet elegant. "You think small, but your solutions are powerful," she said. "Your people do not rely on raw strength or advanced weapons. You rely on intelligence, cooperation, and creativity." Elias grinned. "Exactly. Humans may not have the biggest ships or the strongest bodies, but we have ideas, and ideas can change the galaxy." Lyra's fascination grew as Elias guided her through more of human life. They visited the gardens where people cultivated plants for food, medicine, and even art. They went to the river, where humans fished using clever techniques that harmed nothing and wasted nothing. And they visited the school, where children learned math, history, and the ways of the universe through hands-on experiments. "Your people do not just survive," Lyra said, awestruck. "You improve, you teach, you share knowledge. Even in small villages like this, humans make the world better." Elias looked around, proud. "We all do what we can. Every person contributes, in big ways or small. And together, we accomplish things no one could do alone." As the day passed, Lyra grew more curious about human problem-solving. She asked Elias to explain human approaches to challenges, from building shelters to navigating space. Elias shared stories of humans facing impossible odds, explorers crossing deserts, scientists solving diseases, engineers building cities on mountains and rivers. Each story was a testament to ingenuity, perseverance, and courage. Lyra listened, intently, her glowing eyes reflecting admiration. These stories, and they are more than myths, they are truth. Humans are clever, resilient, and compassionate. I had thought your species was weak. Now I see. Your strength lies not in force, but in heart and mind. Elias smiled. That's right. Humans survive because we try, because we care, and because we never give up. Later, they returned to the forest clearing as twilight fell. The sky was painted in shades of orange and purple, and stars began to appear. Lyra looked up in wonder, her usual confidence replaced by awe. Your night sky. It is so different from my home, she said softly. On my planet, stars are distant points, cold and unchanging. Here the sky feels alive, full of stories and possibilities. Elias nodded. Humans look at the stars and dream. We see challenges, yes, but we also see potential. Every star, every planet, every life is a chance to learn, to grow, to make a difference. Lyra turned to him, her expression thoughtful. I want to learn that, Elias. I want to understand your world, your people, your way of thinking. My people think humans are weak, but I now understand. Humans have a power that cannot be measured by strength alone. Elias placed a hand on her shoulder, a gesture of friendship. You will learn, and in return I hope to learn from you. Different worlds teach different lessons. We can both grow. That night, by the light of the fireflies and the twin moons, Lyra and Elias shared stories of their worlds. She told him about the Nivara, a civilization that prized precision, control, and efficiency above all. But she admitted that in their pursuit of perfection, they often overlooked curiosity, compassion, and creativity. Elias listened, fascinated by her tales, and realized that humans were not the only learners in this universe. Knowledge and wisdom could flow both ways, and understanding another species could make humanity even stronger. As sleep came, Lyra reflected on her first day among humans. She had expected to see weakness, simplicity, and fragility. Instead, she had witnessed courage, ingenuity, and kindness. She had seen a people who could survive impossible odds, not by force but by heart and mind. Elias, watching her with a quiet smile, knew that this was only the beginning. Lyra's journey with humanity would reveal even more lessons, and the galaxy would soon realize that humans were not mere fables. They were living proof that spirit, creativity, and cooperation could overcome challenges no matter how vast or impossible. The next morning, Terra's forests shimmered with dew, and the twin suns rose in the sky, casting a warm golden light across the land. Elias and Lyra had spent the night sharing stories, and now they faced a new challenge. Lyra wanted to see human problem-solving in action. Elias, she said, her glowing eyes filled with curiosity, I want to understand your true strength, not in fighting, but in how humans face challenges. Show me your world in a test, a task that humans would struggle with and yet find a way to succeed. Elias nodded thoughtfully. Very well. But this test will not be simple. It will require creativity, patience, and teamwork. 3 things humans value above all else. He led Lyra to a nearby valley where a small river ran through rocks and fallen logs. A group of villagers had gathered, curious about the human and alien pair, but Elias motioned for them to give space. Your challenge, Elias said, is to build a bridge across this river. There are no machines, no pre-made tools. Only what nature provides. You must work with the villagers using their knowledge and resources to create a safe path. Lyra studied the river. Its current was strong in some places, shallow in others. The logs were uneven, the rocks slippery. She looked at the humans, noting their calm confidence. They did not panic even though the task seemed difficult. She stepped forward, hesitating only briefly. I will try, she said, but I have never done this before. You will not fail, Elias said. Humans learn quickly, and you will learn from them. The villagers began gathering logs and vines, showing Lyra how to tie knots strong enough to hold weight. She followed their instructions carefully, imitating their movements. Her fingers were delicate but precise, and she quickly learned to handle the materials. Hours passed as the group worked together. Lyra struggled at first, fumbling with knots and slipping on rocks, but Elias encouraged her patiently, offering advice without criticism. Slowly, she gained confidence. "This is fascinating," Lyra said. "Humans work together so naturally. Even strangers can collaborate without conflict. Your strength lies not just in skill but in cooperation." Elias smiled. "That's right. Humans survive because we trust each other and share knowledge. Alone, we are limited, but together, we achieve great things." By midday, the basic framework of the bridge was complete. It wobbled slightly, but it held. Lyra stepped onto it cautiously, testing the structure. The humans cheered quietly, encouraging her, and she felt a strange warmth of belonging. "This is incredible," she said, her voice full of wonder. "I never imagined I could do this. My people rely on strict rules and planning, but humans, you adapt, improvise, and find solutions in real time." Elias nodded. "That is human ingenuity. We do not always know the perfect answer, but we keep trying. And when we fail, we try again." The afternoon passed with more challenges. Elias and Lyra guided the villagers to build small dams to control the river's flow, clear paths through dense vegetation, and construct simple shelters. Lyra learned to observe, to anticipate problems, and to adjust her approach. Each task revealed more about human strength, creativity, patience, and the courage to face uncertainty. As they worked, Lyra began to notice something remarkable. Humans did not only focus on the task, they cared for each other. When someone tripped or struggled, others helped immediately. When mistakes were made, no one scolded or gave up. They found a way forward together. "My people. We do not always care for each other this way," Lyra admitted quietly. "We prioritize success, efficiency, and perfection. But humans, you care. Even when it slows progress. That is unusual and powerful." Elias glanced at her. "Strength is not just about winning or achieving. It is about perseverance, teamwork, and compassion. Humans survive because we combine all three." By evening, the bridge and small dams were complete. Lyra walked across the structure with pride, realizing that she had participated in something humans valued deeply, creating solutions with limited resources, through patience, creativity, and collaboration. "This, I understand now," she said softly. "Human stories are true. You survive impossible challenges not through power but through heart and mind. You are remarkable." Elias smiled. "And you, Lyra, have learned quickly. Observation, adaptation, and persistence. These are what make humans strong. You have begun to understand why our people are not just fables." The villagers celebrated, with laughter and song, and Lyra joined in, learning their simple tunes and rhythms. She felt joy in a way she had never known. It was not about winning, not about proving herself. It was about learning, sharing, and being part of a community. As the night fell, the valley glowed under the twin moons. Lyra and Elias sat near the river, watching fireflies dance above the water. Lyra's glowing eyes reflected the light, and she looked thoughtful. "Elias," she said quietly, "my people will not believe this. They think humans are weak, unworthy, and insignificant. But I have seen the truth. You are courageous, inventive, and compassionate. You have a power my people cannot measure." Elias nodded. "That's right. Humans are often underestimated. But our strength is not in fear or force. It is in heart, in mind, and in the willingness to face challenges no matter how impossible they seem." Lyra looked at him, a new resolve forming. "I want to bring your story to the stars, not as myths, not as exaggerations, but as truth. Humans deserve respect." Elias smiled. "And they will get it. But first, you must understand more. The galaxy is vast, full of challenges and wonders. Humans survive because we adapt, learn, and grow. That is our greatest gift. The night deepened, and Lyra reflected on her first lessons among humans. She had expected weakness, simplicity, and fragility. Instead, she had witnessed creativity, cooperation, and courage. Humans were not defined by size or strength. They were defined by heart, by determination, and by the ability to inspire others. Elias watched her silently, knowing that this was only the beginning. Lyra's journey with humanity would reveal even greater lessons, and soon she would carry these truths back to her own people. And so, under the twin moons of Terra, a new chapter of understanding began. Humans were not fables, not myths. They were living proof that courage, creativity, and cooperation could overcome any challenge, even in a universe that seemed vast and impossible. The stars above twinkled, as if acknowledging the bond formed in that quiet valley, a human and an alien, working together, learning from each other, proving that the true strength of a species was not measured in weapons or size, but in spirit and ingenuity. The test of ingenuity was complete, but for Lyra, the journey was only beginning. She had learned that humans could face the impossible, adapt to any challenge, and inspire others simply by being themselves. And she knew that her people would one day understand this too, if she could show them the lessons she had learned. With that thought, she looked to Elias and said softly, "Tomorrow, I want to see even more. Teach me about your cities, your technology, and the ways humans thrive in places even more difficult than this forest." Elias smiled, placing a hand on her shoulder. "Then tomorrow we continue. There is much for you to learn, and much for the galaxy to see. Human stories are not just tales. They are lived experiences, and now you will witness them firsthand." Lyra nodded, her glowing eyes filled with determination and wonder. She had come to Terra seeking knowledge, but she had found something greater, the truth about human strength, courage, and ingenuity. And that truth would guide her and perhaps her people into a new understanding of the galaxy itself. The morning sun rose over Terra, scattering light across the rolling hills and rivers of the human homeland. Elias and Lyra had traveled far from the forest where she had first witnessed human ingenuity. Today, Elias promised to show her the cities, places where humans combined creativity, engineering, and cooperation on a scale Lyra could barely imagine. As their ship approached the first city, Lyra's glowing eyes widened in awe. Towering buildings rose like sculptures from the ground, yet their designs were harmonious with nature. Trees grew atop terraces, water flowed through artificial rivers, and people moved efficiently through streets without noise or chaos. The city breathed with life, human life intertwined with the environment. "This is incredible," Lyra whispered. "Your species builds not only for function but for beauty. My people construct only for efficiency. Your cities, they are alive." Elias smiled. "Humans believe that living spaces should inspire, not just shelter. We design with imagination and practicality together, and the best designs are often the simplest." They landed near the central square where humans gathered for daily activities. Vendors offered fruits, vegetables, and handmade crafts. Children played in areas designed to stimulate learning and creativity. Adults moved with purpose, yet there was laughter and conversation everywhere. Lyra watched with fascination. "Humans, you thrive in ways my people never consider. Even in crowded spaces you find harmony. Even in complexity, you create simplicity." Elias guided her through the city, explaining innovations that allowed humans to live sustainably. Buildings recycled water, energy came from sunlight and wind, and transportation systems minimized congestion while connecting people efficiently. Lyra observed small details too. Children learning through hands-on experience, communities solving problems together, and elders sharing wisdom freely. "You do not rely on domination or control," Lyra said thoughtfully. "Your strength lies in knowledge, cooperation, and creativity, and yet your people are humble. You do not seek to show power but to improve life for everyone." "That's true," Elias said. Humans learn that strength is shared. We survive not because we conquer, but because we cooperate, adapt, and create solutions that benefit all. They entered a workshop where engineers and inventors demonstrated new technologies. Lyra marveled at devices that could purify water instantly, machines that grew food with minimal energy, and tools that repaired themselves. Each innovation reflected human ingenuity, simple in principle, yet powerful in practice. "You call this simple?" Lyra asked, holding a self-repairing tool. "To my people, this would be considered impossible. Yet humans, you make it work naturally." Elias laughed softly. "That's how humans approach problems. We study, experiment, fail, and try again. We do not rely on luck or perfection. We rely on persistence and learning." Lyra's admiration deepened as Elias introduced her to teams working on challenges that humans faced beyond Terra. They solved problems in extreme climates, on remote planets, and in space habitats. Lyra noted how humans applied the same principles she had seen in the forest: creativity, patience, and teamwork. But here in the cities, these principles were amplified by organization and knowledge. "You humans," Lyra said with wonder, "take learning and make it permanent. You record knowledge, share it, and pass it to others. Your species grows stronger with every generation." Elias nodded. "Exactly. Knowledge is our greatest tool, and the more we share it, the more we thrive. Every person contributes something unique, and together we achieve what no one could alone." As the day progressed, Lyra accompanied Elias to a community problem-solving session. Citizens gathered to address a local challenge: designing a sustainable water system for a growing district. They worked together, combining experience, creativity, and imagination. Lyra observed keenly, taking mental notes. "This is extraordinary," she whispered. "Humans face problems not with force, but with collaboration. Even in a city of millions, you work together. My people would rely on authority, not cooperation. And yet this works beautifully." Elias smiled. "Humans survive because we value every contribution. Even a small idea can make a huge difference. And we listen to each other. That is how we solve problems others think are impossible." By evening, the city glowed with lights that seemed to flow with life itself. Lyra stood on a high terrace watching the streets below. She felt a profound respect for humans, not just for what they could create, but for how they lived. Every action reflected thoughtfulness, every design reflected care, and every person contributed to the greater whole. "My people, we think humans are weak, unworthy, and chaotic," Lyra said softly. "But now I see. Humans are strong in ways we cannot measure. You survive, you inspire, and you improve life wherever you go. Your warriors are not only those who fight, but those who think, create, and care." Elias placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "That is the human way. Courage is not only facing danger, it is facing the unknown, solving problems, and helping others along the way. That is the true power of our species." They walked through the city at night, observing festivals of art, music, and science demonstrations. Children performed experiments, adults shared inventions, and elders told stories of past achievements. Lyra noticed a pattern. Humans celebrated curiosity, creativity, and learning as much as they celebrated survival. "Your people honor knowledge," Lyra said. "And by doing so, you grow stronger every generation. My people do not understand this. We think strength comes from power, but humans, you show me that strength comes from heart and mind." Elias smiled. "And that is why humans endure. We are not the strongest, the fastest, or the most technologically advanced. But we persist, we adapt, and we inspire. That is our greatest weapon and our greatest gift." As the night deepened, Lyra and Elias returned to the ship. She gazed at the city below, absorbing every detail. She understood now that the humans she had met in the forest were only a glimpse of their potential. In the cities, their ingenuity, compassion, and teamwork were magnified, demonstrating a species capable of shaping the galaxy without force. I want to show my people this, Lyra said softly. They think humans are weak, but I have seen the truth. Humans are not only survivors, they are innovators, creators, and visionaries. I will return and share this. Perhaps then my people will finally understand. Elias nodded. And the galaxy will see too. Humans are not just stories. We are proof that courage, creativity, and cooperation can overcome any challenge. Lyra's glowing eyes reflected the city lights as she contemplated the future. She realized that humans were not just exceptional. They were a symbol of hope. Their strength was not in domination, but in inspiration, in the ability to solve problems, and in the courage to dream. This journey, it is only beginning, she said. Tomorrow, I wish to see humans in space, where your skills and ingenuity face even greater challenges. I want to understand fully what makes your species so extraordinary. Elias smiled. Then tomorrow we go further. You will see humans navigating the stars, creating, exploring, and thriving where others might fail. And you will understand why your people should respect human stories. Under the twin moons of Terra, the city glimmered like a jewel. Lyra stood beside Elias, filled with determination and wonder. The test of cities had revealed not only human strength, but human vision, the ability to build, to inspire, and to thrive as one species working together. And in the quiet moments before sleep, Lyra reflected on the lessons of the day. Humans were not fables. They were living proof that spirit, ingenuity, and cooperation could overcome any obstacle, even in a galaxy that seemed vast and impossible. The stars above twinkled in agreement, witnessing the bond between human and alien, and the truth that one day, the galaxy would recognize humanity for what it truly was, a species of thinkers, creators, and dreamers, capable of greatness far beyond what anyone had imagined. The morning light spilled across Terra once more, painting the land in soft gold and green. Lyra and Elias prepared to leave the human city behind, but today was different. Today Lyra would witness humans not just on their home planet, but among the stars, where challenges were greater, dangers were unpredictable, and survival required ingenuity beyond imagination. Elias guided Lyra to a nearby spaceport, where sleek human ships stood ready for launch. Unlike the enormous ships of the Navarra Empire, these vessels were smaller, simpler, yet elegant. Every design showed human creativity, efficiency, durability, and adaptability combined in every line and surface. Today, Elias said, you will see humans operate in space. This is where our ingenuity truly shines. We do not rely on strength or size. We rely on skill, knowledge, and teamwork. Lyra gazed at the ships with awe. Your people, I thought I had seen your best. But this is something entirely new. They boarded one of the vessels. The controls were compact but precise, requiring careful coordination. Elias explained the systems as Lyra followed, her glowing eyes studying every instrument. She noticed how every button, every display, was designed for both efficiency and adaptability. The ship lifted off smoothly, leaving Terra's surface behind. As they climbed through the atmosphere, Lyra marveled at the beauty of the planet below. The forests, rivers, and cities shrinking into patterns of green and blue. This is breathtaking, she whispered. Your people not only survive on planets, but you master the void itself. I begin to understand the depth of your ingenuity. Elias smiled. Space is the ultimate challenge. Gravity, radiation, vacuum, everything conspires against life. But humans thrive because we learn, adapt, and work together. Their mission for the day was simple in concept, but complex in execution. Navigate through a dense asteroid field to reach a distant research station. The rocks shifted constantly, and a single mistake could damage the ship. Lyra watched closely as humans adjusted in real time, predicting movements, calculating trajectories, and improvising solutions. This is amazing, Lyra murmured. Your people do not panic. You think, you adapt, you act. I have seen humans in forests and cities, but in space, and this is extraordinary. Elias nodded. Humans survive not by brute force, but by observation and cooperation. Alone, a human might fail. Together, we succeed. As they weaved through the asteroid field, Lyra noticed how the crew communicated without words at times, each member anticipating the other's actions. The coordination was seamless, almost instinctive. She realized that humans had developed a unique kind of trust, one that allowed them to act as a single organism, responding to challenges in real time. I cannot believe this, Lyra said softly. The legends, they are true. Humans are capable of feats no other species could perform, not with weapons, not with technology alone, but with mind, heart, and spirit. Elias smiled quietly. That is our way. Humans adapt, create, and endure. That is why we survive, and why we thrive, even in the galaxy's most dangerous places. After several hours, they arrived at the research station, orbiting a small, rocky planet. The station had been designed and built by humans with limited resources, yet it functioned perfectly. Lyra stepped onto the observation deck, staring at the delicate balance of engineering and ingenuity. Even here, she said, in space, humans create life, stability, and purpose. This is unlike anything I have seen. Elias explained how humans had established colonies, research stations, and trade routes across multiple star systems, all without dominating or destroying the local environments. We adapt to the environment, not control it. We cooperate with nature and with each other. That is how we endure. Lyra turned to him, her glowing eyes filled with respect. Elias, I understand now. Humans are not only survivors, they are innovators, problem solvers, and visionaries. Your strength is in your mind, your heart, and your ability to inspire others. Elias nodded. And the galaxy will see it too. Not as fables or myths, but as reality. Humans are living proof that courage, creativity, and cooperation can overcome any obstacle. That evening, aboard the human ship, Lyra reflected on her journey. She had witnessed humans in forests, in cities, and now in the vacuum of space. Everywhere she went, she had seen the same qualities: ingenuity, perseverance, and compassion. She realized that her people had been blind to human potential, dismissing them as weak, unworthy, or simple stories. I will return to the Nivara, Lyra said quietly, and I will tell them the truth. Humans are not myths. They are living examples of strength and courage. They are warriors in their own way, not of force, but of spirit. Elias smiled. And I believe your people will understand. Humans have faced challenges no other species has, and we have thrived. That is a story worth sharing. The ship glided silently through space, stars stretching endlessly in every direction. Lyra gazed out at the galaxy, thinking of the countless worlds humans could reach, explore, and improve. She felt hope. Hope that humans would be recognized, not as simple creatures, but as examples of what determination, creativity, and cooperation could achieve. As they approached Terra once more, Lyra looked at the planet with newfound admiration. She had seen the forests, the cities, and the humans in space. She understood their essence: courage, ingenuity, and heart. Humans were living legends, not because they wielded weapons or ruled empires, but because they had the spirit to survive, adapt, and inspire. Elias, she said softly, thank you. You have shown me the truth about your people. I will carry this knowledge to the stars, and I will make sure that humans are never underestimated again. Elias placed a hand on her shoulder. You are welcome, Lyra. But remember, humans are not perfect. We fail, we stumble, and we make mistakes. What makes us strong is that we keep going, we learn, and we help each other. That is the lesson of humanity. Lyra nodded, absorbing every word. She understood now that human strength was not about perfection. It was about persistence, creativity, and courage in the face of the unknown. When they landed back on Terra, the villagers greeted them warmly. Children ran to meet Lyra, curious about the space journey she had shared. Adults asked questions, eager to hear what she had learned. Lyra realized that humans did not need recognition. They thrived by learning, exploring, and improving the world around them. "My people will not believe what I have seen," Lyra admitted, speaking to Elias as they watched the sunset. "But I will tell them. Humans are not weak. They are not myths. They are proof that spirit, heart, and intelligence can achieve what seems impossible." Elias smiled. "And one day, the galaxy will see the same. Humans are not just survivors. They are innovators, thinkers, and dreamers. We are living proof that courage and creativity can shape worlds." The twin moons rose over Terra, casting silver light across the forests, rivers, and cities. Lyra stood beside Elias, reflecting on the journey that had changed her perspective forever. She had come as a skeptic, expecting weakness, simplicity, and failure. Instead, she had witnessed courage, ingenuity, and hope. "My people will learn," she said softly. "They will see humans as they truly are, and perhaps they will finally understand the power of the human spirit." Elias placed a hand on her shoulder. "Humans are not perfect, but our strength lies in our willingness to try, to learn, and to inspire others. That is the greatest lesson of all." Lyra looked up at the stars, her glowing eyes reflecting the light of distant worlds. She knew that humans had a unique place in the galaxy, not as conquerors, but as examples of what determination, creativity, and heart could achieve. "And I will make sure that story is told," she said quietly, filled with resolve. The story of humans, the true warriors of spirit and mind. As night fell over Terra, the forest whispered in the wind, the cities glowed with life, and the stars shone brightly above. Humans rested, unaware that they had inspired an alien explorer, reshaped perceptions, and prepared the galaxy to recognize their true strength. In the quiet of the night, Lyra understood what Elias had shown her throughout their journey. Humans were not legends because of their might, but because of their courage, ingenuity, and heart. That was the truth she would carry back to her people, and one day the universe itself would see the humans not as fables, but as living proof of what a species could achieve when it dared to dream, to create, and to endure.